Sim Hoffman, the Buena Park, California-based radiologist, who was indicted by an Orange County grand jury last May of 2011 for $17 million in fraudulent billings to insurance carriers and third-party administrators handling workers' comp, appeared for more pretrial proceedings last Friday, March 16, 2012, in Orange County Superior Court in courtroom C40 with Judge William Froeberg. I was there to check it all out. Hoffman's out of custody on a $1.5 million bail bond, and he appeared in court with his co-defendants. There was Beverly Mitchell, his office manager, Louis Santillan, his hearing rep and bill collector, and Thomas Herrick, who's a neurologist. Now, Thomas Herrick is a huge man. I mean, a hulking brute of a man. He must weigh 350 pounds, and he's at least 6 feet 7 inches tall. Has these gigantic orthopedic shoes. So he again sat in the back of the courtroom. He always sits in the back with his wife, so he has more leg room. And Beverly Mitchell always sits with Sim Hoffman, and Louis Santillan always sits by himself. And he sat right behind me. The indictment against all four defendants contains 887 counts, and all the defendants have already pled not guilty. The whole scam that Hoffman and his cohorts are accused of indulging in, according to Orange County District Attorney Tony Raukaucus, a massive workers' compensation insurance fraud scheme involving over $17 million in overbilling for unnecessary or never performed procedures. Hoffman devised fake tests and evaluation procedures for sleep disorders at his Better Sleeping Medical Center in Buena Park, and also billed for other fake neurological tests from two other companies called Advanced Management Services and Advanced Professional Imaging. There was nothing in his testing that was legitimate or had any medical value. It was all devised and just concocted as bogus paperwork for billing purposes. One shocking type of test he alleged to perform were single fiber EMGs. Now, a single fiber EMG is an invasive, painful procedure which takes over an hour to perform and involves sticking a giant needle into a single nerve. It often requires hospitalization. The needle tests for electricity conduction. Only 2 doctors in California are qualified to perform this test because it's so complex and requires specialized training. And Hoffman is not one of them. According to his bills, his patients went through this painful procedure over 20 times each. There's no way that could ever happen. And by the way, single fiber EMGs cost 10 times more than regular EMGs. So Friday's proceedings started off with Beverly Mitchell's attorney telling Judge Froeberg, "We're pulling this over until the 18th of May, until we do the discovery issues." The defense is also filing a 995 motion, and that is set for May the 18th also. In California, Penal Code 995 is a motion to dismiss the information based on either lack of probable cause or sufficient evidence. The defense already filed a demurrer at a previous proceeding, which is a pleading that objects to the legality of a countercounts, but that was denied. Then Richard Moss, who is Sim Hoffman's attorney, and who's quite slender and was wearing a very handsome dark blue suit, asked the judge about his motion for discovery that he had filed. But the judge didn't know what he was talking about and didn't have it. So that burned up some time while the judge located the motion and then left the courtroom silently and went into his back chambers to read it. Well, while the judge was gone, everyone in the courtroom just chit-chatted and shot the breeze, and I even got the chance to turn around and have a casual chat with Louis Santillan, who was sitting exactly behind me. He's a man who appears very sweet on first impression and wears very chic designer eyeglasses. One would never suspect he would be caught up in a criminal debacle like this based on his benign appearance. But according to the DA, He collected over $800,000 in commissions over 2 years, derived from activities that he knew were fraudulent. Well, when the judge came back and denied the motion, there was some light banter between Froeberg and Richard Moss. But then Moss told the judge that the state of California allocates large sums of money to the Orange County District Attorney's Office to go after workers' compensation medical providers, and this creates a conflict of interest. After the proceedings were over, I got lucky and found myself in the elevator alone with the deputy district attorney who was trying this case, Shadi Kamiyibipour. I immediately piped up when the elevator closed, and so she told me that the defense is doing everything under the sun to attack the DA's case. Since the state of California, she explained, especially the Department of Insurance, grants money to the DA's office to prosecute workers' compensation fraud, the defense is alleging the money was specifically allocated solely to attack Sim Hoffman. But this is absolutely not true, according to Shadi. The money from the state has been utilized to prosecute many, many workers' compensation fraud doctors, not specifically Sim Hoffman. He is not special. Pretty much at this point, they're trying to attack the DA's case in any way they can, Shadi said to me. 995s are very common. They are usual. Nobody gets surprised, she added. So a 995 is a disqualification motion. She went on to explain to me, it's a challenge, a possible conflict of interest, a lack of impartiality. They don't want this to get to trial, Shadi told me without equivocation by the time we reached the sidewalk in front of the courthouse. I remember another thing Deputy DA Shadi Kamiyibipour told me over the phone back in January. She said her office only went back for 1 year with the billings from Sim Hoffman's medical practice. She said they had to be consolidated or they'd be overwhelmed. The case wouldn't be manageable otherwise. So if the DA indicted for $17 million in fraud for only 1 year, just think of what 10 years would add up to. We can easily do the math. So the Sim Hoffman foursome will be back in Orange County Superior Court on Friday, May the 18th at 9 a.m. Tune back in then. This is Lonce from Adjustercom.